So you might be aware of this cognitive distortion called all or nothing thinking, which is essentially where we seem to think that we are all elite level athletes. And so whenever we partake in any form of endeavor, which is meant to improve our health, physique, in any way whatsoever, we think that we need to go all in, just like elite level athletes. And this is despite the fact that we all have full-time jobs, families, social lives, and our careers do not depend on us getting some kind of result in a sporting context, which if you think about it is pretty bizarre. And so typically what happens is we just do not engage in the activities required to get us healthy, strong and energized because we just think if we're not going all in, it's not worth it. Now, that could not be further from the truth, okay? There are benefits to being semi-in. That's what she said. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to assume that you do have a hectic work life. And in some scenarios, you are slammed at work. And so I'm going to give you the slammed at work protocol. So our protagonist for the day is multiple-time WWE World Champion, Mr. John Cena. He is slammed at work always, or at least he was on a fairly regular basis. And this is pretty stressful, as you can imagine. So what's the solution? He needs to dial it down. He can't be slammed at work all the time. And even when he is slammed at work, he needs to be doing something to ensure that he's staying healthy and he can perform. But the thing that's confusing John Cena is he does not know how to do this. Now at this point, let me just make it clear. You will have a program written out for you. You should be following some form of program. Within your program, you will have sets, reps, weights, intensities that you need to reach in order for you to get results. However, when you're slammed at work, this might not be appropriate at that time, in which case the goal is not to hit targets that week. The focus is just to stay healthy and to manage stress as effectively as possible, particularly if we're in a weight loss phase, which is already a stressful endeavor. That being said, here are your 3 dials: training, nutrition, and rest. And if we focus on training for just a minute, we've got 3 further dials: your steps, your cardio, and your gym work. Now, in terms of steps, easy one, reduce your current output by around about 2K. If you're making an extra effort to go for walks at the moment, maybe reduce the effort slightly. Reducing your steps by 2K is probably going to represent a decent target for you, and it's still going to be manageable. When it comes to training, we need to reduce our volume, especially if we're highly stressed. So the ways in which we can do this: we can reduce our training volume. So we can reduce the sets of our compound movements in particular, as they're the most stressful. So if you're typically doing 3 to 4 sets, which is fairly standard, you can reduce that to 2 sets. You can reduce the number of exercises in the session, maybe cut out the accessory exercises. You can train less during the week, maybe do 2 full body sessions rather than your standard lower upper split 4 times per week. In terms of nutrition, bring your calories back to maintenance. If you're in a calorie deficit, that's going to be too much of a stress on the system if you're super stressed, so it's a good idea to bring that back to maintenance. If you are currently in a calorie surplus, because you're probably going to reduce your training volume and your movement, it's a good idea to bring your calories back down to maintenance for that reason. So focus on being at maintenance for that week. Another thing that you can do in terms of nutrition is just focus on hitting your protein intake. That's the most important macronutrient. You want to be ensuring that you are maintaining your muscle mass, and you want to ensure that all of the cells in your body are being properly nourished with the right amino acids to ensure optimal physiological functioning. So you want your antibodies to be on point, you want your neurotransmitters, enzymes and hormones to be all working effectively. And in order to ensure that that's the case, eating enough protein is very important. Keep your fruit and veg high. That's going to be great for getting in micronutrients, which are going to help you to feel better, as well as ensuring that your digestion is on point. Staying hydrated is key. You don't want to start confusing thirst for hunger, and so eating more. And you also want to be thinking clearly, not getting those headaches throughout the day, which can often happen because you're dehydrated. So make sure that you're drinking enough water. Aim for 3 liters a day. If you've been tracking and you might find tracking stressful, maybe get rid of tracking just for that week. That does not mean all hell breaks loose and you can start eating whatever you want based on the previous points I've talked about. Obviously still be mindful, but maybe just reduce the stressor by not having so much phone time and reducing your tracking. In order to reduce the perception of stress, it might be a good idea to engage in some activities that help you to do that. Meditation is a great one for you to do. I recommend downloading Headspace. Wonderful app. It's going to teach you the basics of meditation. If you've never done it before, just do the Take 10 for 10 days and that's going to sort you out. Another thing that you can do is remove stressors. For that week, stop watching the news. Remove yourself from WhatsApp groups that have the potential to be toxic. Get rid of social media for that week. anything that's causing you to potentially get triggered, anything that's causing you to process information that you just don't need to be processing at this point, just get rid of it. That's going to be a great thing to do to help you to manage stress. And prioritize sleep. Super important, particularly when we're slammed at work. We want to be focused as much as possible. We want to have the energy levels to perform at our best. So make sure that even if you can't get enough sleep, your sleep environment is on lock and you don't have your phone by the bed, you're not waking up to emails, etc. You're just turning your bedroom into a sanctuary whereby you can just get in there and do nothing but sleep. And so that's it, guys. The slammed at work protocol is essentially realizing that in some areas you need to dial things down. So there it is, the slammed at work protocol. It's essentially a way for you to realize that rather than completely ceasing all activities, you just need to simply dial it down in some areas and dial it up in other areas. This is going to help you to stay healthy and to help manage stressful situations whilst ensuring that you have some form of momentum with your health and fitness goals. Let me know if you found that useful. Let me know in the comments if you found that useful. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.